Okay, day 12 of the San Diego Trans-County Trail. Never thought there'd be a day 12. I thought there'd be maybe a day 10 at most, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So I'm about to enter Penasaquitos Canyon Preserve, which has been a problem because it is prone to flooding and does fully close. The website says it closes during rain events and a minimum of 48 hours after those rain events. It was closed in 2023 when I quit the trail. The storm that pushed me off the trail this year, it was closed for like a good 6 or 7 days. I was a little worried because technically yesterday was a rain event. I'm getting a late start because I called the ranger's office and they did have a recording of what's open, what's not. And they said that the trails are open, but there's some flooding, especially in the northern and southern boundaries and along the Trans-County Trail, and there's some bridges out. So be prepared for wet feet. I'm totally fine with wet feet. Yeah, that's not a problem. So, assuming that the Trans-County Trail curse doesn't strike again, I should be getting to the ocean today. Let's go. All right, entering the preserve. This did make me pause yesterday, but that looks like a permanent sign warning that this park does close during rainstorms. Gonna head under the highway and see how this goes. All right, we got the creek to my right. Running pretty dark. You can see all the flood damage that's not even necessarily from this year. Oh, look at how high that went up. You can see the debris on this tree right here. So yeah, during bad storms, this is closed. But nice little trail, nice calm sounds of the creek, nice riparian area, and the preserve doesn't go all the way to the ocean, but this creek does, and there should be trails that lead pretty much there. Obviously, once you get close to the ocean, you got to cut through some development, but then there's the state park at the end. If this is what counts as flooding or bridges out, I think I'll be fine. Not a big deal. I said not a big deal, and then I dropped it in the water. I dropped my phone in the water. Luckily, it was still kind of in the rocks area. It took me a little bit to find it and not washed over with the current with the rest of the creek. I'm going to be a little bit more careful at these crossings from now on. So taking my phone out of my case because the case is all fogged up, I wanted to point this out. This is pretty awesome. This is an official San Diego Trans-County Trail sign with the entire trail on there. Official looking sign. This trail is kind of just a hodgepodge of a bunch of different trails and obviously some cross country. So seeing this official sign in a county park is really pretty cool. It also will help explain to people what I'm doing here with a backpack. I did a lot of explaining to do coming down from El Cajon Mountain. People are excited when they find out, but you know, there's big signs about no camping, so people are like, oh, what are you doing? Well, it looks like it's partly closed. There is a road around here, and it's kind of at an intersection. I'm hoping I can hook up with it on the other side, and that side will not be closed. And success. And I am so close to breaking this curse. So close. So lots of extra stuff in this park. I just passed a sign for the ranch house. Iker's grave. I don't know what this is. So I'm just gonna, as long as it's not too far, I'm just gonna check it out. See what we have here. Oh yeah, it looks like a little cemetery. Somebody's buried here in the county park. Alright, try to sum this up. John Joseph Iker was actually part of a Germanic royal family of Bavaria, came to the U.S. at some point, possibly as a ranch cook, and then died of tuberculosis on January 6th, 1882 and was buried here in this gorgeous area. Alright, I've got about 0.8 of a mile to a waterfall. There's a waterfall along this section. It's a 6 miles round trip from the parking lot that I crossed over into as that one trail was done. But this has been really chill. No big ups and downs. It's been very flat, rocky at times, but this is really easy trail to walk, at least at the moment. So not a great view of the waterfall. Looks like maybe the other side over here might get a better view. I'll go further up the trail and see what's up. One of my tracks has me crossing the waterfall right here. I'm not confident in that right now. However, there are 2 trails, one on the north side, one on the south side. I'm going to stick to the south side for a little bit, maybe cross over to the north in a little bit. It looks like the north will let you stay on trail slightly longer. I don't think it really makes a difference. It looks like masochists took the south one the whole way. So I'm going to continue down the south and see what's further up trail. Alright, it says Sycamore Crossing is 0.6 miles this way. There might actually be a bridge up there. So if not, I can stay on the south trail the whole way. That'll be fine too. A little bit more visual on the canyon now. Again, following this pretty much just to the end where it dumps out. And you know what? With as much hype as that waterfall had on the way up to it, I was expecting a little bit more. But this is very beautiful. I decided to cross over to the north side at a place called Sycamore Crossing, and I'm glad I did. This is really pretty. Look at this, with this nice bridge and everything. Gorgeous. The trail on the north side turned into a single track. There are a lot of mountain bikers here, so gotta be careful. A lot of holes too. Starting to see more development along the sides of the canyon. Also, I'm really close to Miramar Air Base, and there's jets going overhead again. One of the observations I'm making of that is they tend to be a little bit more polite over here than they do in the desert, where they just kind of get a little bit more cavalier. They are loud, very loud. Okay, in front of me is the split of the 5 and the 805. Known elsewhere as I-5 and 805. California, you tend to say the in front of the major freeways. So, corridor is going to empty out. Going to take some, I'm assuming, normal streets to cross that gigantic barrier. And then soon after, I should be heading into Torrey Pines State Reserve. And at the end of Torrey Pines State Reserve, finally the ocean. Jets, the cars, and that train that went by, it is noisy. Torrey Pines State Reserve. You are my final stretch, and I love you. Ooh, this is happening. Starting to get that wind pushing off the ocean, so hopefully you can hear me, but wow, look at all of this salt marsh here. There's not a whole lot of salt marsh areas left along the coast. It's mostly been drained and developed. And because there aren't that many, of course you can see endangered species right next to the trail. That is pickleweed. It's a type of succulent. There's a lot of animals that actually rely on pickleweed, and they are now endangered too. Look at all this. It's right here along the trail. Hopefully it comes out on video. Right here too, pickleweed. Yeah, so there's a couple of spots in these parks and reserves, and actually on the military bases, since they take up so much land, where these places still exist. This one's got that nice channel that runs through it. I used to study stingrays, and they would come into these marsh areas as well. Look at this, just crested up from the marsh, and now have a great overview of this. That's so cool. You can see all the channels and everything. Just do a pan around. Look at that. Gorgeous natural channels. And then there's the development just past it. And then coming back this way, just on the other side of the road where all those cars are parked, I can actually see little tiny bits of it. That is the ocean. So close. Just need to cross that road. I hope there's an underpass. I don't know. Here it is. It's a windy day, so those waves are pretty choppy. I'm gonna walk down and touch the water. Probably get salt in my bushwhacking scrapes, but just symbolically wash away this trans-county curse. That's it, the curse has been lifted. I finally made it to the ocean. I'm obviously really excited about this. So not only did I finally finish this trail, the only trail I've ever actually fully quit before, but for some of you who are subscribed, you know that I had a very serious ankle injury in August, and it's been improving, but this is the first trail from start to finish that I've done without a brace, which is good because it would not have survived the bushwhacking section if it even needed a brace. So I'm back on my feet, I finished my trail, and hopefully that means that I will be doing more adventures, more hiking in the near future. So thank you for sticking with me for this, this trail, and I'll see you next time.